What's one small adult cheat code you wish you learned earlier? Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the Vancher channel. Also, please share your thoughts on this video in the comments. Let's get started. Story 1. Doing favors for my future self as if they are a completely separate person who I love and appreciate and want to succeed. Story 2. Stay away from people who speak poorly about others behind their backs. They will do the exact same thing to you. Answer. This, it obviously depends on what the bad stuff is. Like, sure, warn me if someone is toxic or dangerous. But even to a lesser extent, it makes you wary of someone. I have a great friend who screenshots conversations with other people and shares them with me sometimes. Now I've totally built a wall about what I'm willing to tell her because I know I'm not a magical exception for her, and she probably does it to our chats. Story 3. Every time your spouse mentions something they like, make a note of it. I keep a document just for this in the Notes app on my phone. Then you won't have to scramble to think of presents when Christmas arrives. Story 4. You can just say what you want and then ask for it. As long as you do it politely, most people will give you an up or down answer. It's also okay to say no to almost anything. There may be consequences, but you don't have to do anything just because social pressure suggests you should. Answer. A somewhat related trick I read from someone else here. Whenever you ask someone for something, say why you need that. It can be literally any reason. It will highly increase the chances of the person giving what you want. To be clear, this is of course not to say it is okay to be manipulative or to take advantage of people who cannot say no. But there are more and less effective ways of asking for things. Story 5. When making something like soups, stews, chilies, or sauces, do a bigger batch and freeze the rest. You'll thank yourself later. Story 6. Sleep is a magic problem solver. I most often did this with the coding problems, but it works with anything. If you're stuck on a complex problem and feel like you're getting nowhere, sleep on it. I don't know if your brain works on it while you sleep, but you will find solution very quickly the next day. Edit. I remembered this also works for learning practical skills, like learning an instrument. Quite often, I'd struggle for hours to play a song well, only to nail it on 2 or 3 attempts after a night's sleep. Answer. This is a good one. I have literally solved complex math problems in my sleep when I was in college. Another time, a couple years ago, I figured out how to fix an annoying computer problem in my sleep. The solution came to me in a dream. I woke up, tried it, and voila, it worked. It's very weird when that happens because, I know I solved it, but it doesn't feel like it was me who did it. Story 7. Having a boring life admin routine once a week. I sit down for 30 minutes to pay bills, reply to emails, clean a bit, plan meals and budget. It sounds dull, but it stops 90% of the stress from adulting emergencies before they even start. Story 8. Eat the frog. If you know the worst part of your day is going to be, say, eating a frog, it's best to get that out of the way early and have a whole day of clarity instead of having that weigh on you until it gets done. Story 9. Try to be early to most things, with a few exceptions. Life happens, and lateness can cause all kinds of issues and leave lasting impressions. Backwards plan whenever you can and leave buffer room all over the place. Life happens. Answer. I'm on the spectrum and have trauma from my mom being late to everything. Literally waiting hours sometimes to be picked up, getting school. Normally it was maybe 30 minutes, but having to go wait in the front office after all of the other kids were picked up sucked. Especially as a kid, that seemed like an eternity. Now as an adult, I'm 4 hours early for international flights and 3 hours early for domestic flights. And always early for everything unless it would be rude to show up early. Story 10. Never stop working out. It takes forever to get back in shape when you are older. Also, everything hurts more. Answer. Gonna add on to this. Consistency over a long period of time counts for more than you think. I was once pretty serious about the gym. Now I'm a lot more casual. I aim for 2 visits a week. Some weeks I only get 1. Some weeks I don't make it to the gym at all. But because I haven't taken extended breaks, I'm in quite good shape. Surprised me too. I figured twice a week was enough for general health reasons, and that's it. But my lifts have slowly went up over time, and I actually was able to build pecs arms this way. So it doesn't take much. If 2 workouts a week is all you can commit to over an indefinite period of time, you can still be quite productive with that. Story 11. A good driver never misses a turn. A great driver does. It's always safer to go to the next exit or find somewhere safe to turn around than slam brakes, make tight turns, and potentially get injured in the panic of trying to make a turn at the last second. Story 12. When you buy your child a Christmas stocking for Santa to fill, buy an extra identical one. Have one pre-filled with the goodies, then swap it for the empty one. It's so much easier than trying to fill it quietly at some ungodly hour on Christmas Eve. Story 13. Stocking, or what I call pre-buy. If I see something that I will use in the future and it's on sale good deal, I go ahead and purchase it even though I don't need it then. Stuff like medicine, paper goods, coffee, etc. When you need those things, you can't wait to get a good deal. So get it on the deal when you can. Story 14. Being kind and a smile cost you nothing, but they sometimes go a long way. Worked in my favor when I was applying for a visa, LOL. Answer, I was at airport last year around this time. Our plane had maintenance issues and the flight crew timed out. People were pissed and scrambling to get checked into different airlines or flights. Tensions high and people were getting rude as hell to the gate agents. I finally got my turn to talk to them. And when I got to the desk, I said I would ask how you are. But I'm sure you're just as frustrated as the rest of us. But I do want to say I think y'all are doing an amazing job. My interaction was maybe 10 minutes with them, smiling, joking, and laughing. Wouldn't you know it, the gate agent booked me on the red-eye out and upgraded me to first class. Kindness doesn't always pay, nor should it, but when it does, it pays well. Story 15. Decide in advance if something actually matters enough to have an argument about it. Many of my friends disagree with me about a lot of things, and almost none of them are worth the friction of an actual argument. Story 16. Don't put it down, put it away. Saying it to myself helps curb my ADHD habit of leaving things laying around everywhere. Story 17. I am teaching my children that they will unlock a cheat code if they can do 3 things. 1. Show up on time. 2. Be polite. 3. Do what you say you are going to do. I tell them if they consistently do these 3 things, they will establish a reputation for being trustworthy, and that will mean they will be on better footing than 95 of other people, and they will never have to worry about having a job. Even if they're not necessarily the best at doing the work, someone will always want to employ a worker they can trust. Story 18. No partied too hard motion, but my mom has been trying to teach me it for years. If I'm on the couch and need to go to the bathroom, I'll tidy up the bathroom counter while I'm there and bring something out that's meant for the living room. I struggle with cleaning, depression, and CPSD, so this has really helped me stay on top of it. Story 19. When someone complains about something, don't offer a solution at first. Say you understand, that must be frustrating. Answer. Critically important thing for many people to understand, someone complaining about something doesn't mean they don't know how to solve it. They often just want to vent because the whole situation is annoying. They're an adult person just like yourself. You should err on the side of assuming they know what they're doing, not that you're smarter than they are. Story 20. Not everyone is asking you to help solve their problem. A lot of people just need to vent and for someone else to hear them. Story 21. Always ask how to spell someone's name when you first meet them. Oh, your name is Mara? Is the M-A-R-A or M-A-U-R-A? It forces your brain to encode their name rather than immediately forgetting it. Story 22. When you decline an invite, it's okay to just say, thanks for the invite, I can't make it. No need for any explanations. Answer, this has saved me so much stress. I have a friend who wants to go out constantly. Like if I said yes each time, I would have no life. Thing is, his wife dislikes it too. I can see it when I go over because he never spends time with her, only with me. I've started to just say, sorry, something came up, or just, I can't make it tonight. I figured he'd ask what, then I need to come up with an explanation. But turns out they never ask for details. Makes it so much easier to get out of going out if I don't feel like it. I'm probably actually saving their marriage by doing this without him realizing it. Story 23. Don't keep junk food in your house. It's much easier to resist those Cheetos on time while you're walking down the snacks aisle. It's much, much harder to resist the Cheetos every time you're hungry at home and wanting a snack. Also, go to the grocery full. Story 24. Wake up and do what's most important for you, i.e. exercise, because when you get home from work, you'll be tired and push it off. Story 25. If you have to wonder if they like you, they don't like you. This would have saved me from many pointless and harmful relationships with men who didn't really care for me. Story 26. Pad your time. For example, if you need to be somewhere at 6 and it takes you 30 minutes to get there, plan to leave at 5 so you have 15 minutes beforehand for traffic, lost keys, etc., and 15 minutes when you get there to find parking. Get where you're going, use the bathroom, take a deep breath, etc. before it starts. If you have a deadline of Friday, plan to be completely done by Thursday. Planning for a few minutes before and between each thing you're going to be doing gives your schedule breathing room instead of always being rushed. Story 27. Show up. Show up for people when they need it. You'll have to rationalize how many you can show up for. I don't mean get played or manipulated. A friend starting a new business? Show up as a customer or find a suitable customer. Or put them in touch with an investor peer supplier evangelist. Your kid's nth school recital? Show up and cheer them on still like it's the first one. A colleague is going through a tough time in their personal life. Show up with whatever support is appropriate. Someone is moving houses. Yes, they paid for movers, but still show up and help where you can. I don't mean spend all your life doing things for others. You define your limits. You give to get. This is networking. Story 28. Learn people's names and the correct pronunciations of their names. Be surprised how something so simple can help you deal with people. Story 29. Buy 2 of regularly used household items that suck to not have when you need it. TP, dish detergent, laundry detergent, certain food items, etc. Do this first when you run out completely or when moving into a new place. You will have a backup and won't be scrambling for laundry detergent when all your clothes are dirty and you've just run out of detergent. Important and key to making this work is when you open the second thing, buy another in your next grocery trip. Then you'll forever have it in stock and never worry about completely running out. Story 30. Write, shoot down. Download a note app onto your phone if you don't already have one. Take notes of restaurants, movies, and music friends recommend you. Things your partner enjoys. To-dos, baby names you like, recipes to try. You think you'll remember everything, but you won't. I thought this was an old man move. It's not. It's wise is what it is. Write, shoot, down. Story 31. Cooking well and baking are easily the most important skills I have ever learned. That would have made my life so much easier as a kid. As far as school is concerned, read the chapter the night before and do some of the practice problems in the textbook. So many teachers take the test questions directly from the textbook problems. Story 32. Have 3 hobbies. Something for you, author. Something with your friends. Something with your spouse. For me, it's guitar, golf, and bird watching. Story 33. If your boss talks to you in person about something, immediately send them an email confirming everything they said, agreed. It helps to A, nip any misunderstandings in the bud, and B, deters them from just straight up lying about what was said later because they know there's a paper trail. Answer yes. Cover your back when it's important, but following this advice too closely, you'll be known as the annoying employee who's spamming the inbox with redundancies. The boss knows why you're sending these confirmation emails, and the optics are a lack in confidence and accountability. Learn this from experience, but from the client side. One time got a reply from one of these emails saying, yes, I understand you like to cover your back with a paper trail. Please move forward. The people who receive these emails have also heard this life pro tip, and it can be annoying and give a bad impression. Story 34. Robot vacuum. I thought it would be useless and have no effect because it couldn't cross thresholds or clean under things or corners. Found 150, so I spent 100 or something because, what the heck? I don't even know where our other vacuum is anymore. Story 35. Learning to say, I'll get back to you on that, instead of agreeing to stuff immediately. Absolute lifesaver. Story 36. I've been hanging a calendar on the wall for the past 8 or so years where I write down stuff that will or needs to happen, appointments, outings with friends and family, etc. I know I could very well use my phone for this, but having the calendar in front of my eyes every day, it's near the front doors, gives me a full view of the whole month, and both my husband and I can see stuff that is already planned, and we can make sure we don't overlap stuff. Answer. I'm very proud of my calendar, so I want to share. I have a magnetic dry erase one stuck on the fridge, along with my magnet markers. It's color-coded by person. We have 3 kids. Plus, there's an everyone color and a holiday no school color. And so the kids know what day it is. I have a small red circle magnet that I move to indicate what the current day is. Then, of course, I have all that in my phone calendar as well, using the same color system. Story 37. Work is an economic transaction. You provide a service and in return, you receive cash. Work is not family. You are always replaceable, but so is your place of employment. Wish I had learned this in my 20s and not my 40s. Story 38. Find a way to minimize what you consume. Consumerism isn't just about the environment. It's also about dealing with all that stuff, clutter, and its impact on your own finances. Owning more to clean and care for. Story 39. Make time to study something for 1 hour per day. Hobbies, DIY, a language, career studies, anything. An hour of learning a day goes a long way as a habit and to improve your confidence. Story 40. Here is, in order, what I believe to be the cheat code to living well. 1. Get good sleep. Between 7 to 9 hours every night and try to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day. If nothing else, do this. 2. Take your meds. Drink water. 4. Eat real food, mostly plants. Move your body, preferably outside the 6. Read books more than you do social media. Figure out at least one hobby you really enjoy doing and dive into it with reckless abandon. Never underestimate how much tidying up your living area and making your bed can unfuck your brain. Story 41. Deal hunting is the way to go if you have an expensive hobby. An hour of it can out-earn your actual hourly wage. Story 42. Making friends with bosses is a lot easier than actually working hard, and it actually gets results. Story 43. Wash, dry, and put away your dishes right after your meal. Cleaning up right after doesn't leave a chore to do later that you may ignore and add to out of laziness, subsequently making a larger task. Story 44. Buying a second phone charger to keep permanently plugged in by your bed. The sheer, unadulterated power you feel when you roll over at 3 and just plug in is unmatched. Story 45. Exercise has 0 negatives. It's a slow-releasing mental physical buff. You will never regret a workout, but will always regret missing one. Story 46. If you paste with Windows Key V, you can choose any of the most recent things you've copied instead of just the last thing. Story 47. Buy a deep freezer. Purchase things in bulk when they're on sale. You will always be happy when you have some easy fudge meals ready to go for when you're sick, you've had a shoot day, or your male body part falls off. Story 48. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. What does this mean? Don't have the energy to do a real, full, thorough brushing of your teeth? Just brush them for like 20 seconds. It's still worth it. Better than not brushing at all. Apply this to everything. Story 49. Don't drink adult beverage. I stopped a year ago, and it's a cheat code. I'm never hungover. Living life on hungover is like playing on hard. Never hungover feels like playing life on easy mode. Story 50. Embrace the suck because you don't control what happens, only your response. Hardship is expected, not avoided. Discomfort and adversity are opportunities to build virtue, discipline, and resilience. You should focus on what's in your control and accept what isn't. Story 51. Put your effort into what you can control or influence. Focusing your energy and time and getting worked up over stuff that's outside of your control will accomplish nothing more than making you miserable. Story 52. Find the balance. You mostly don't need to be a jerk, but you don't need to be a doormat either. Downtime is necessary, but so is having something to do that isn't just more downtime. Traveling is awesome, but so is your own bed. Luxury is great. Being broke and surrounded by nice stuff is just stressful. Do invest in things that go between you and the ground, though. Bed, shoes, tires, etc. Your place doesn't need to be spotless, but clean and organized will save you time and effort. The quality of your work is a reflection of you, but you are not your work. Do it reasonably well, then be done with it. Grow from your mistakes, understand why you were successful when you are. You can have boundaries without being rigid. Find and cherish your people, but do the same for yourself. Do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. If you need intoxication of whatever kind, no you don't. Nothing lasts forever, but it's worth putting your whole jerk into what matters. You're allowed to not know things or lack skills, but you should probably learn it if it's going to come up more than once. There's no such thing as zero-time activities, but you only need to budget about 2 minutes for each. Story 53. The older you look, the more the young people will just do what you tell them to. You don't even have to know them. Kids, come grab this, and they will. It works well past when it should too. Full, adult, grown 20-somethings, I can just boss around by calling them kids. I'm not that much older. This shouldn't work. It just does. The real LPT here is that people inherently want structure and to be told what to do. And if you look like an authority figure, then they'll happily do it. But younger folks don't even ask any questions. It's great. Story 54. Ask questions. More info makes navigating life much easier. Particularly the question, what makes you say that? Can avoid a lot of misinterpretation, mind-reading conflict, or self-sabotage at it. Fixing some grammar mistakes, specifically plural questions, changed to question BC. Initially wanted to list more examples of questions, but decided one was enough. Story 55. Get the pricey pillow. I spent too long struggling with sleep issues and neck-shoulder pain that a pillow I thought was too expensive quickly fixed. Story 56. If you know you have inevitable bills that are coming, just make a nice little spreadsheet and divide out the weeks, so when the time comes, you safely have the money without stress. Story 57. Make lists, like write it down on paper or on your phone. To-do list, shopping list, gift list. It sounds so simple, but it's remarkably clarifying. Story 58. Saying thank you has become you did your job. I switched to appreciate you, and it works so much better to convey truth. Story 59. Go to your college professor's office hours. Not only will they help you, but this is how you make a connection for references down the road. Oh, and read before class and actually attend the class. Story 60. If you're in public and need a bathroom, find a decent upscale hotel close by. The lobby almost always has a bathroom. Just you walk in like you have a room there and no one will question you. Story 61. When it came to savings, I always felt discouraged when I couldn't meet the monthly minimum I set for myself. Saving is much easier when you can just add whatever you can. Sometimes I add as little as 3 if it's extra for the week. It all adds up regardless. It keeps me from having to tap into my savings BC. I put majority of my paycheck in just to meet a goal when I'm really just holding myself back. Story 62. Sleep, exercise, and eat healthy. It's actually amazing how you can totally normalize feeling like shoot constantly until you realize it doesn't have to be that way. Works wonders for mental health. Story 63. Just one thing. When I'm overwhelmed, do just one thing, just one. Getting started is the hardest part when overwhelmed, and whittling it down to just the one first action often gets me going. And I'll go on to accomplish several things. The first one's often the hardest. Story 64. For work, process. Spend a lot of time in one time setting up a repeatable process, then you never have any questions about why you did something, and it always works the same way. Added bonus, you can leave your role, move up or out, and the company can replace you easier. Story 65. Most things aren't about you. Most people have no idea who you are, and the only person they care about is themselves, so it's really about them. Story 66. The bumgun toilet arsehole wash thing. Staying in an apartment with one now. Revolutionary technology. Story 67. Ask for things. We often don't just because we think we'll get unfavorable responses. You'd be surprised. Obviously, this would require you to have goodwill and be a decent human. Story 68. Fake confidence. Either until you have it or until it becomes so normal that confidence is normal. Boom, you've got confidence. It's a way to employ imposter syndrome in a positive way and trick your brain. Scrubbing your butthole, chin up, chest out. Say, I'm the best butt crack scrubber on the planet. Are you? Who cares? Confidence is thinking you are, and you will be. It's like hacking thought processes. Story 69. If you need to buy a special tool for one job, buy a cheap one at Harbor Freight. If you use it enough to break it, buy a good one somewhere else. Story 70. Cheat code. I learned way too late. Not everyone deserves 100 trust right away. I used to assume everyone was honest and got burned a lot. Story 71. When you say no, you don't need to give a reason. Also, you don't have to immediately accommodate people when it suits them. It's okay to say you'll call back in a few. I am amazed of how many friends I have to taught this. Story 72. Stop caring what other people think about you, because usually they are not thinking about you at all. Story 73. Marry the one who makes you laugh. The beauty fades over time. It happens to all of us. But humor is always fresh and wonderful. Story 74. No matter how shoot of day it's been or how tired you are, fill up your gas tank on the way home. Do not say to yourself that you'll just leave early in the morning to get it. You will forget every single time. Story 75. The way you think someone thinks or feels about you has a lot more to with you than them. People don't think about you as much as you think or the way you think they do. Story 76. There is no way to cheat your way into losing weight and being in shape. You just used to accept that and then put the work in. I lost 120 pounds last year and will never look back. Story 77. Treat your life like an RPG game. It's the small gains, side quests, and new achievements that keep you from being weighed down by the challenges you face. Challenges big enough that they can't be dealt with in a single blow. Story 78. Getting older doesn't automatically make someone a better human. Many older adults are as selfish, lazy, stupid, clueless as they were as 20-year-olds. This still surprises me as a 40-year-old when I am in contact with 60 or 70-year-olds. It isn't worth it to waste your time on things you don't really care about. Story 79. Don't underestimate the value of non-exercise physical activity. For whatever reason, exercise may fall off your priority list. But if you're still moving around often, you'll minimize the impact on your body. Our bodies like to move, however and whenever they can. Story 80. Set aside a fixed percentage of your paycheck every month and invest it in an index fund. Start from your very first paycheck and do not think, I'll get this fixed next month. This is not your saving for something to buy fund. This is your permanent investment fund. You never drain the capital. You don't touch it until you're 50 at the earliest. Even then, you never drain more than that year's gains. Story 81. Don't wait to run the dishwasher till it's full. Run it when you're running out of stuff you use the most, or you will be eating everything with the same spoon for a week for no reason. Story 82. If you can do the task in under 5 minutes, do it right away. Those small tasks add up and become unbearable. Story 83. When you're heading out the door to work, tell that person you love them and look them in the eyes. Mean it. You may never get that chance again. Talking from personal experience. Story 84. The extra 5 minutes the snooze button gave never made me less tired, but it did make me late. Forcing myself out of bed on the first alarm sucked for a couple weeks. Then it was no problem. After a while, I noticed I was less tired in the afternoons too. Story 85. It's okay to run the dishwasher at 25 capacity. It's already so much more water efficient than hand washing. Just make your life easier. Story 86. Don't put off unpleasant tasks. They aren't going to get less unpleasant by sitting around longer. They may get more unpleasant, and they'll probably get more stressful. Story 87. You don't need to keep going to church every Sunday as an adult. Religion doesn't need to control your life. Story 88. Get a bidet. Doesn't have to be fancy. There are attachments for less than 50 and super easy to hook up. Less than 20 minutes. Don't want something spraying your butthole? Grow up and just get one. It's resoundingly better than mashing feces into your jerk. Story 89. Bathroom talk. Men, when you pee standing up, have 1 square of toilet tissue at the ready to dab off the final drip of urine. It'll keep your junk and your tighty-whities smelling fresher. Story 90. Every time you're late, set your alarm 15 minutes earlier the next time. Clearly, you need more time than you're anticipating. Story 91. Sleep matters. Do the thing you dislike or dread the most first. The people that you surround yourself with are the people that will become. Story 92. Want to get a discount on stuff you buy online? Leave it in the cart, but don't check out. Often companies will send you a discount code to get you to complete the transaction. Story 93. If you know you really like certain clothes or shoes or something like that, buy an extra for later when the original wears out. Story 94. I wish I wasn't so sarcastic with my family. I was raised that way. Took me a long time to learn how it affects others, especially my wife. Then my kids became sarcastic people. Sarcasm is good in small doses once in a while. Doing it all the time sucks. Story 95. When I realized how much statistical principles affected personal successes and how to use this with resource allocations. The Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. 80 of results are reached with 20 of effort. The remaining 20 of results requires 80 effort. The Liebig law of the minimum. The lowest result of a variable within a cluster determines the overall outcome. The normal distribution. Staying within the 68.2 center distribution inch mitigates risks and increases conformity. Story 96. You're not obligated to deal with the things other people put on you. Someone tosses you a hot potato, you're allowed to drop it and go on living your life. Story 97. Cutting food with the knife in my right hand, eating it with my fork in the left. None of this switching back and forth nonsense. Learned it on my first trip to Europe as a teenager. Story 98. Open your mail right away, especially if you know your credit score is not the greatest. Yeah, sure, it's all bills, but that 159 check from the Wells Fargo lawsuit was a pleasant surprise. ADHD, PPL will understand. Story 99. This is one for dieting. Keep a thing of bone broth in your fridge. If you're ever hungry after dinner, drink a swig of bone broth. Here's one for cooking. Keep a thing of bone broth in your fridge. Anytime you would normally add water into a savory recipe, nah, bone broth. Story 100. Load the cutlery in your dishwasher with all your forks together, knives together, spoons together, etc. So it makes it easier to unload when everything is clean. Story 101. Invest early and often. I didn't. I would take every dollar I ever spent on booze and substances in my 20s, early 30s, and would have invested it and stayed home instead of partying. Story 102. Squeegee yourself off in the shower. You don't have to get out wet. The floor never gets wet. The towel doesn't get as soaked. Apple Calendar, where are your reminders for events appointments? Do not disturb. Whitelist important family friends. Look at the clothing material when you buy clothes. Story 103. Going to sound obvious, but I don't think most people realize this. But you can literally practice anything. Want to be a better speaker? Practice. Want to be a better handyman? person? Practice. Want to be able to stand up for yourself? Practice. Want to be a better person? Practice. Want to be a better etc.? Practice. It wasn't until my 30s that I had that realization. Story 104. There's a person at every institute of higher learning called a bursar. They are eager to tell anybody who will listen about the amount of money available to them. Story 105. Max out your 401k contributions sooner rather than later, especially if your company contributes. It's basically free money and it lowers your tax threshold. Story 106. Being a lawyer is imperative to extracting the most value from our legal system. Not a lawyer? The rules apply differently. Someone steal 15K from you and you want to sue? Well, too expensive to hire a lawyer for 15K. But if you can sue the person yourself. Story 107. Read the price per unit or volume when buying non-perishable or long-lasting groceries. If you eat turkey sandwiches every week, it may be cheaper in the long run to buy a bigger pack. At the same time, you may find some items are better per unit in the smaller size. Just this week, I found out the garlic powder I buy is cheaper per Oz in the small container than the jumbo value one. Lots of small savings add up in the long run. Story 108. If you're pissed off at everyone and everything, go eat. If you think everyone is pissed off at you, go take a nap. Those two things fix about 80 of conflict. Story 109. 1. Keeping up is way easier than catching up, especially when it comes to chores or work tasks or anything that needs to get done regularly or in parts. 2. Accepting that something isn't working and you need to walk away and do something new is fudge critical to your well-being. 3. Being able to look at your own actions and how you're contributed to that thing not working or it not working for you is critical to growing as a human being. 4. If you don't have any direction career-wise, think vague instead of specific. Focus on your soft skills and natural talents. Narrow it down more with your interests and goals. Then narrow it down more by prioritizing your needs versus wants. Try new things even if you start at the bottom and stick around long enough to at least learn how to do the job well. If it isn't a fit, I guarantee you'll be surprised down the road when something you learned from some shoot gig gave you some small experience or skill that you can use again. If you absolutely know what you want to do for a career, good for you. But if you don't, it makes a lot more sense to not go all in on an idea and instead try a bunch of things. Even if it takes a while, the more things you do, the more clear of an idea you'll have about what will fit and bring you some fulfillment. Story 110. You can work yourself to passing at a job and constantly go above and beyond. Or you can just do the bare minimum, but always show up on time and never involve yourself in any drama. At most companies, both scenarios will put you on the exact same trajectory. Story 111. Own your shoot. Did you do that amazing thing at work school life? Don't let someone else take credit for your work. Own your shoot and be proud to say, I did that. Did you screw up on that project interaction life? Generally, a lot of times people will cut you some slack if you own your shoot. Hey friend, I fudge up and I'm sorry. How can I make this better? The real trick on this one is your follow-through. If you don't, people will stop giving you chances. Most importantly, own your shoot to yourself, good and bad, and it will help you be a better person overall. Story 112. Travel card rewards. Points really add up as long as you pay the card off weekly. My wife and I take a free Caribbean vacation every couple of years using nothing but points. Story 113. Kitchen scissors instead of raising my blood pressure trying pull open plastic bags in the kitchen. Saves so much stress. Story 114. Using timers. I swear, setting a 10-15 minute timer for anything like cleaning, cooking, replying to emails, even just getting out of bed is the biggest adult cheat code. It tricks your brain into starting, and once you start, everything feels so much easier. It's wild how much you can get done in just 10 minutes. I wish someone told me this earlier. My life would have been way more organized. Story 115. Create a separate bank account than your regular checking. Add up all your bills. Add 100. Divide by the number of times you get paid in a month. Direct deposit that amount into the second account each paycheck. Done touch the money. Instant adulting. Story 116. Reading this thread and it randomly hit me. We are all humans that will most likely never cross paths in the real world. Yet here we are giving each other advice with no incentive other than to be nice and perhaps make life a little bit easier for our fellow man. That is also my only advice. Please just be nice. Story 117. Never say yes over the phone. When they ask for you by name, ask, who's this? Once they reintroduce themselves and you don't want them, tell them it's a wrong number. Lastly, tell telemarketers this is a business number. They'll take you off as long as you stay consistent about what your fake business sells. Story 118. Worrying about something you have no control about doesn't add to your life but takes away. The likelihood of it happening is next to none. And why worry about it until it happens? 99 of the things I've worried about never came true, or if it did, it was manageable. Lost sleep makes everything harder too. Story 119. Stop worrying about what people think of me. The only ones whose thoughts about me that matter are those I really care about, and maybe just a little, those I work for. Beyond that, fudge them. Story 120. Lie down more, on the floor or the sofa. It's nicer than sitting, and maybe better for my overall stress well-being. Story 121. There's no rule about how you do chores and deal with obligations. Nobody can stop you from dressing like a pirate every time you do dishes so it's fun, and going, this platter be caked in mire. The cheat code for me is making obligations enjoyable. Story 122. Concentrate on what is nothing else. The might be is not, what is here and now. Stops overthinking and worrying immediately, lowers stress, anxiety, and fears. Go forth and be awesome. Story 123. If your spouse mentions something they would like to have during the year, write it down and keep until time for Christmas shopping so you can potentially buy them something they forgot they wanted. Story 124. Putting aside 5 to 20 a paycheck to invest in the SP 500 will grow insane amounts if you're consistent and hold long enough. You won't get rich, but it's amazing how quick a couple hundred in profit can be accumulated and a couple thousand can be available for emergencies with consistent contributions. Story 120. A swimming pool resets everyone. Whenever we're doing a long drive with kids, the place we stop has to have a pool. All the crankiness, stiffness, angst of the trip resets after 5 minutes in the water. Story 126. Save for what you want. You'll value the purchase more if it costs you labor, and you'll buy less crap. Story 127. Learn how to learn. Also learn how to follow directions. I know nothing about cars. Recently did a lot of work to mine and saved a ton of money, about $200 in parts cost versus the $1,500 a mechanic estimated, because I knew how to properly Google my problem and follow directions. There's always someone who has done it before you, and chances are, they recorded it. Story 128. Community college. There are so many associate-level programs that lead directly into decent-paying careers at a fraction of the cost and with more flexibility than 4-year schools. Story 129. If something needs to be fixed and you have disposable money to fix the thing, use the money to fix the thing. You'll be happier, you'll have more free time, your thing will work better than if you DIY'd it. One of my very best friends called this throwing money at the problem to make it go away. And darn if it isn't the best life hack ever. Don't do your own plumbing. Definitely don't do your own electrical work. Sure, you could fix your car yourself, but it's winter. Find a good mechanic and pay them to do the thing. Burnt dinner? Order takeout. Pets were left alone for 2 days, went on a rampage and trashed the place? Get a one-time cleaning service. Use the money that you have to make your life better because you cannot take it with you. Edit. I will say she was living off the residuals of her father's estate, so this was easier for her than it would be for a lot of us. However, even if you have a small bit of disposable income, the principle stands. Buy yourself a coffee, get a Blu-ray movie instead of streaming it. If it's really hot or really rainy, park in a garage today instead of on the street at a meter. Make your life easier. Story 130. I learned this pretty early, but I wish more people learned it. If you can't do anything about a thing that's occupying space in your mind right now, leave it alone until you can. Story 131. Quit all substances, i.e. adult beverage, caffeine, nicotine, green stuff. These things are poisons and are a net negative to your quality of life and finances. If you feel anxious, depressed, or tired, do what humans and all other animals did before modernity: exercise, sleep, and de-stress. Story 132. Don't go cheap on everyday basics. Electric toothbrush instead of manual, quality socks, comfy bed, excellent coffee, etc. Story 133. Don't look for bars, look for money. A job is just one way, a good one, to get money. There are thousands of tiny entrepreneurial options. For example, I started my handyman business with no experience, no money, no truck. The need was there and I offered services. Go, make you money. Story 134. In my experience, the battles you enter and/or win are usually only worth it if they bring a net benefit, since your resources are limited. Obvious as it sounds, personal wars have their own economy, and people may, sometimes intentionally, pull you into them at your expense. Do you really want that car or lease? Or is it mainly to prove something so you emerge victorious from some race? Do you really need to win that verbal argument at work so that person learns their lesson? Or depending on the context and from a game theory standpoint, are you sometimes better off letting the illusion that you lost stand? Wow, they were right all along. Every interaction has a cost. The hack for me is noticing those costs and asking, hey, do I really stand to gain from this interaction? Am I entering this dynamic by my own will? Or am I being directly or indirectly dragged into it because it's to someone's advantage that I dose or don't dose something? Story 135. If you can, have a second direct deposit account for auto cash savings that has no plastic. Helps to have to transfer, for me anyway. Story 136. Check the cooking instructions before tossing the box. Nothing humbles you like digging through the trash for oven temps. Story 137. Not every verbal battle or opinion is worth it, even if you're right. Pick your spots. Also, just the simple action of being able to let things go. Story 138. Make a crap I totally forgot to restock bag in your bathroom. Contains one of every consumable you might run out of. One roll of toilet paper, one deodorant, wash of toothpaste. Thing is that you never run out of those on a chilled Saturday afternoon when the shops are open and you have all the time in the world. No. They'll run out when you only have 5 minutes until you really need to leave so you aren't late for work, or when you have diarrhea of doom and cannot leave the flat. Story 139. Exercise. It unlocks so much goodness in your body, mind, and soul. I've only been back in the gym for the last 2 months, and that paired with reduced adult beverage intake, I feel clearer and better about myself. Story 140. 1. Work in any capacity you can, as much as you can from your youth. Treat grades as currency too. Your goal is to acquire as much of it as possible. 2. Arrange for your bills to come out on the same day each month so you know precisely what your outgoings are and what remains. 3. Pay yourself first. Invest what you can, even if it's just the minimum monthly payment in a broad index like Fidelity World One. 4. Keep a smaller amount of savings in your main bank, but try to avoid this at getting too large, because large sums of money sitting in your bank basically destroys the value of your money as it can't keep up with the rate of inflation. You just want enough for budgeted fun money, your weekly expenses, ag food, travel, etc., monthly investments, and anything else you might want to invest in, e.g. a course. 5. Put the excess you're not investing in a high-interest rate bank savings account. You can typically withdraw from these without penalty, but they may place limits on withdrawals and you have to deposit monthly. Don't forget to keep an eye out for accounts paying a higher interest rate after the first year when the deal might change and then switch. Some places may even offer a bonus for switching. Invest in yourself. In your late teens, early 20s, you're at the peak of your intellect. And whilst people gain knowledge and wisdom as the years go by, they often lose steam and the grind mindset that allows their mind to process the most complex things it's capable of processing and to persevere when the intensity of their workload gets hard. You will also value sleep much more as you age. And once you have children, if that's what you want, it is very hard to do anything else but care for them unless you're paying someone else to do it. Even if they do, your brain chemistry changes and your child crying or whining around you completely shuts down your ability to focus intensely and process information efficiently. 7. Give yourself the time to establish yourself in a career with a defined path of progression and job security. That way, even as you explore business opportunities, you will always have that career to fall back on. Story 141. You can communicate with people about how you communicate with them. Examples. Do you prefer if I call you Catherine or Kate or something else? Is this the kind of meeting where we'll be asked to speak and interact? Or is this the kind of meeting where we're sitting quietly and receiving information? Do you want me to err on the side of waiting for approvals before I start the work? Or should I start the work right away and sort out the approvals later? Story 142. When you take your socks off, either mate them right away or hang them to dry next to each other. Also, if you hang dry socks, hang them together in pairs. Keeps you from losing socks and going crazy, wondering where the other one went. Also, being super specific about where you put things in your house. If there's only one place it goes, you don't stand a chance of losing things as easy. Story 143. If you're a customer and something is not to your liking or is just borked, find an employee or a way to contact customer service. Tell them what is wrong. Let them suggest a solution. Especially if you're polite about it, oftentimes what they'll suggest will be more than what you were hoping to get. Story 144. Use a credit card for general spending, but pay it off in full by direct debit every month. Your credit score will be higher for it. Story 145. that doing something for 5 minutes is usually enough to trick your brain into finishing the whole task. Story 146. The world doesn't revolve around you. People don't put attention to stuff you do like 99 of time. You like a cheesy bad movie? They don't care. You like a weird ice cream flavor? They don't gaff. Are you a metalhead and you like Britney or Dua Lipa? No one cares. Be free and enjoy things you like without remorse or regret. Story 147. Asking for help. Navigating stuff like the insurance and medical systems is really complicated, but if you can get a human on the phone and admit your ignorance, they're usually very helpful. Story 148. If you embarrass yourself, try to remember a time when someone else embarrassed themselves. You probably can't. Nobody is going to remember that awkward thing you did. Laugh it off and move on. Every other person you meet has just as shoot going on in their lives as you. Unless you acted like a complete psychopath, you're going to be completely forgotten the second you leave. Story 149. I was puzzling over an assignment in class one day and the professor came up and asked me about it. I told him I just couldn't figure out this one thing and it was driving me nuts. He said, "What do you do when you have a problem?" "Go have lunch." I do that a lot now. Even fun stuff like puzzles that are starting to get me frustrated. Just take a break and come back later. Story 150. Moving exercise to mandatory health from self-care. In other words, treat exercise like brushing your teeth instead of getting a haircut. The decision to not do it daily results in negative health outcomes. Story 151. Eat your greens. I had a really bad depression for a lot of my 20s. I took meds, went to inpatient, got diagnosed with Hashimoto's. Eventually, I started taking note that my B12, Vit D, and iron were almost always low. I was chronically anemic, low energy. I wasn't maintaining jobs because of chronic absenteeism due to chronic fatigue. While taking my thyroid meds, I started taking nutrition supplements and eating better. I now realize that the sluggish feeling I thought was depression was actually malnutrition. And when I start feeling it again, doctor's visits always see low numbers of those nutrients. Avoid malnutrition. Mickey D's doesn't have the nutrition you need to feel good. Story 152. I actually did learn this early and have been doing it for years. Take an amount of money you're comfortable with, can afford, and set it aside in an online-only account every week. At the end of the year, there's your holiday shopping money. I say online only because transfers take a few days to go through, so it's a built-in deterrent from spending the money. I personally use Capital One, and it's linked to my main checking account from another bank. It has a super easy pause option if you can't afford it 1 week or just don't want to transfer for whatever reason. Don't have to do overtime, don't have to watch my spending. The money is just there when it's time to shop for Xmas gifts, and I don't miss it during the year. Story 153. Undertaking a psychedelic journey. It's not a cure-all to be sure, but holy fudge shoot, has it been helpful in overcoming my depression. Story 154. Not so useful since the pandemic, but my favorite is always brush your teeth before you put on your tie. Story 155. Doing a bit of something is better than doing nothing of it. E.j., cleaning a bit of the kitchen is not as good as cleaning the whole kitchen, but it's better than not cleaning it at all. Seems obvious, but sometimes we think it is not worth something if you are not doing it in full, and so we never do it. Put everything in your calendar. Useful so you don't forget about upcoming stuff, but also as a record of events in your life. How long has it been since, when did we, etc. If you put a reminder alarm for something, keep snoozing it until you have actually done it. Do not clear it thinking, I'll do that after I finish this. You'll often forget. More recently, I have started writing a journal for both personal, family, and work, and I can't recommend it enough. I guess the usefulness of the work one depends on your job. Story 156. When in the phase of life called dating, learning what you like and don't like, and learning about yourself, make sure you gracefully end it the moment it's no longer fun. Seeing where things go often leads to choosing the wrong person for the wrong reason. Story 157. To stop speaking to my mother sooner. You can just not talk to them, and they never yell and berate you again. Story 158. A wise man once told me, if it's raining male body part, you pick a small one and sit on it right away. For when the big ones come, you're already occupied. Story 159. The adult cheat code is to never forget how you were as a child. Don't forget how to live in the present. Don't forget how to find joy in anything. Don't forget how to view the world with optimism. What do you want to be when you grow up? Story 160. Late to the game, and I'm sure someone has mentioned this, but adding open communication can solve a fudge ton of issues. Story 161. Do the silly little things that your spouse asks you to do, even if they don't mean anything to you. It will pay in dividends and usually don't take a lot of effort. Story 162. Start going to Al-Anon meetings. I no longer feel like I have to control the entire universe to get what I want, just my own attitude. Story 163. 1. Sometimes when you're feeling emotionally like shoot, helping others and doing good things selflessly will make you feel so much better. As hard as it can be, and it's often very hard for me, remembering that people who piss you off and also just humans trying to get through their lives as best they can really help you get past the angry and negativity. Story 164. Not into this modern stoic nonsense in general, but the obstacle is the way is such an important lesson. If you struggle with something or feel afraid to do it, force yourself to face it anyway. We always go to the worst case scenario in our head, but it usually works out and you'll be happy you did it after. More importantly, if you make a habit of this and get used to doing things that make you scared or uncomfortable, you will literally be unstoppable. Nothing will faze you. This will improve your dating life, your career, your relationships with you friends, your experiences, literally everything. Story 165. 1 egg with 1 spoon full of mayonnaise whisked together and then a little bit of oil or butter. Microwave for about 40 seconds. Best omelet ever. Story 166. Take accountability for everything within your direct control. Understand the difference between what's actually in your control versus what isn't. Take accountability for everything within your control. Stop blaming the world for your problems. Story 167. I started wearing shower sandals in my shower at home. I have a neuropathy and my feet suck. Not sure it's an adult cheat code, but I find showers so much more comfortable with my sandals on. Maybe more of an M getting too old for this shoe code. Story 168. Setting up a separate savings account for different goals or expected expenses and putting the same amount of money into each account every paycheck. A lot easier to pay for that house expense when you have an account set up specifically for it. Story 169. Your standard bank savings accounts lose money when inflation is factored in. Either invest your money or find a high-yield savings account that has an interest rate that beats inflation. Story 170. When toner is low, take toner out, shake it good, then put back in printer and you will get more prints. Wished I learned this sooner. Helped save money and one job took forever to get new supplies. Story 171. Wish I would have read Socrates earlier in life. The secret of happiness lies in learning to enjoy less. But I understand it now, and that's what is important. Those words have carried me through the present timeline. Story 172. Get the meds for the mental health issue. Get the meds. It won't shorten your life. It very likely won't endanger you since you have a doctor by your side, and your life will change for the better. Get the meds. I'm looking at you, ADHD-riddled dwellers of Reddit. Story 173. Compounding interest is your best friend. Even a few dollars here or there early in your life and regularly maintained will mean freedom later on. Story 174. When you move out, if your parents offer to buy you stuff to help, put some tools on the list. 38 impact with metric and SAE sockets. Regular drill with some standard bits. 38 socket rache. Set 12 sets would be nice, but you can get these relatively cheap and will get you really far. Don't be afraid to go with something like Ryobi unless you're constantly putting houses together 247. They will get that lag bolt into the stud just fine. You may not know when you are going to need them, but trust me, having at least some standard power tools can get you out of some painful days. Story 175. Get off social media and use that time to be social. Learn something, do something. You don't realize how much time you waste on your phone that could be better spent. Story 176. Try and realize when social relationships become entirely one-sided. People aren't perfect, and they won't always remember your birthday. But if they still pick up the phone and make the effort, then they're worthwhile. Whereas if a relationship will die as soon as you stop making the effort, then it's already dead. You'll be better off focusing your efforts elsewhere. Story 177. Paying for as much as possible with a credit card. Just make sure you're paying off the bill each month. With all the rewards, you're literally giving up free money by using a debit card or cash. But always keep cash on hand for emergencies. Story 178. Avoid conflict with others in your workplace at all cost. Obviously, there are exceptions, but focusing on forging good relationships and really avoiding fighting with colleagues or any type of drama, no matter what roles they are currently in, is vital for multiple reasons. 1. If you're known as someone who is involved in drama or conflict, you will get passed by with opportunities a lot. 2. Related, you never know when someone you work with at your level or a higher or lower level will be in a position to help you or harm you with a new opportunity. If you make any kind of habit of burning bridges, it won't go well for your career more times than not. Story 179. Saving every month used to be 200, but a couple of years ago, I upped it to 600 non-negotiable. I'm almost 50. And this year I started believing I would actually be okay when I got old and not poor and destitute, which was a real acute fear of mine for my first 20 years of adult life, working for myself and never making more than 35K a year. I live frugally, but now I live with hope. Story 180. Mine is, check a motherfucker the first time they try you. There are a lot of bullies narcissists in the world right now, and they love to recruit others to bully harass their target. It happens for many reasons, but the most effective way to deal with it is to stand up to the bully, even if it means a physical altercation. Once people see that you can be successfully bullied, you will never know. People will go out of their way to come for you. Stop that by checking your bully right away. Story 181. Labeling everything. I used to remember everything, but now I'm old and I pull out a Ziploc bag of screws, parts, and I have no idea what they're for. Also helps if you die and other people need to go through everything. Story 182. I realize that nobody is probably going to see this because I commented too late, but one thing I really wish I had discovered earlier in my life was the power of isotonic saline mist and its ability to solve seasonal allergies and colds flus. Story 183. Be consistent rather than extravagant. Your girlfriend or spouse will value the everyday things far more than a flashy dinner or a giant teddy bear. Bring her favorite coffee, leave a small note telling her you love her, or keep the house tidy. Those steady acts of love speak louder than the occasional grand gesture. Story 184. Start an entry in the Notes app for your car. What your VIN is, license plate number, and when it expires, tire size, and log the date and mileage of when you rotate or replace them, headlight bulb size and when you replace the pair, windshield wiper sizes and when you replace them, and oil type, along with a log of mileage and date of changing. This comes in handy anytime something needs attention and makes it easy to track sizes of commonly replaced components. Story 185. 99 of people DGF what you're doing as long as it's not negatively affecting anything they care about. You have no reason to be embarrassed for that thing you just did. You have no reason to think you can't do something because of judgment. The only person stopping you is you. Story 186. In bed during oral intimacy, if you go up, up, down, down, left, right, start it unlocks a special climax mode. Story 187. People always tell you what they want. You just have to listen. I agree with our Hungry Cricket 9872. Make a note and then either save it for birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, or my favorite, just because days. Oh, you like my heated gloves? I bought you a pair just because I love you. Story 188. Don't keep your phone in the bedroom. Get an alarm clock if you need it. The freedom of having one space that's free from screens and notifications is game-changing. Story 189. Use a washcloth in the shower. It's quicker and much cleaner. Skin-on-skin action, just don't cut it. If you can't eat dinner off my jerk, after then it's not a shower. Story 190. Wake up early and go to sleep early. Nothing good happens after 10 p.m. is especially true after you hit 35. Story 191. Confidence isn't usually natural at first. Nothing succeeds confidence and competence. You have to earn the competence, then fake it till you make confidence wise. Go in smiling like you want to be there, and before long, one feels you got this. If you're competent, fake the confidence. You got this. Story 192. Have a special podcast show you only listen to while you do a chore you don't enjoy. I have a sports podcast I listen to while I do the dishes, and it makes me actually look forward to it. Story 193. From Star Trek. Sometimes you can play perfect and still lose. That is something I still work on trying to accept. Story 194. Literally just treat everything in your life like it's a job. Your relationships, your hobbies, stuff you just do for fun. Taking it more seriously, they actually makes it easier to enjoy it in the long run. Took me forever to learn this because it's so counterintuitive. Story 195. Something I have no idea how I started. If you are making pasta, best with the non-spaghetti shapes, pour it into your serving bowl, 34 full to measure the perfect amount for one, or do multiple times for how many servings. Story 196. Make a travel list. I have one for winter and summer holidays. You can do as many as you want, such as business trip, family visit, etc. Keep it in your Notes app and don't delete it. You'll never forget a thing again. Story 197. As soon as you get out of bed, make it. It confirms to your subconscious that you are up for the day no snoozes, and now you have already accomplished something today. Now do another. It is surprisingly useful in reducing procrastination for me, as getting myself started doing something is much harder for me than keeping myself doing stuff. I know why I am making this bed, but it still tricks my procrastination demon into the background. Story 198. If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it immediately. Procrastinating small tasks is how life quietly snowballs into chaos. Story 199. Don't let culture, heritage, or religion control your thoughts or actions, and avoid those who do. 9 times out of 10, that person is going to reveal themselves to be a massive sack of shit. Story 200. I don't need to spoon out my poo with my index finger. I can just push it out through some kind of magic force that works when I concentrate on it. Story 201. Stick to a routine. Wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, eat meals at the same time, etc. Younger, dumber me thought a steady schedule would stifle excitement or lead me to lose any sense of spontaneity. Older me realizes that there are plenty of opportunities for all the above, and they are much more enjoyable and manageable when you are well-rested, well-fed, and in a good headspace. Story 202. Buy 10 to 20 pairs of the same sock that you wear to work. Hey presto, no more searching for pairs of socks in the morning. Story 203. Accommodate yourself. It's easy to think things like everyone else does it X way. Why can't I? Focusing on what makes things work instead of the right way or what everyone else does made my life a lot easier. Story 204. In a good relationship, chores and every else that needs work should be 60-40, but both partners try to be the 60. Story 205. Doing just a little cardio every day is so important. I ignored cardio in my 20s and took about 5 months to be able to run a mile without stopping. Now I'm doing 10-12-minute miles every day on my lunch break, and it has changed my mental and physical health substantially. Story 206. Save for saving's sake when you can really comes in handy, and with time you realize how much can put away in a short time. Story 207. Most of the battles I'll fight are in my own head. In fighting those battles are guaranteed that I'm going to lose peace and serenity. Better off not fighting and just letting go and letting it happen. I think it was Churchill who said, I fear a great many things in this world, and actually a few of them came true. Most of the shit I worry about never happens, and all I did was waste energy instead on what really matters. This is a long jerk cheat code. Story 208. Get enough quality sleep. If you miss out a few hours one night, go to bed early the following to catch up. Your body needs rest recovery to do its job. Great for the brain too, I find. Story 209. Set goals, sub-goals, put them down on paper, put a deadline, be it earning money, learning a skill, etc. It's magical. If you fail, put a new deadline, analyze why failure. As adults, we have freedom to fulfill all of our desires. No excuses, no cruising, pure will. Reflecting on all desires you've achieved, it is a huge motivator. The world is currently in peak freedom and no limits. Story 210. You're an adult, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to live by anyone else's rules or expectations. Story 211. You don't have to talk to people. So many people will waste as much of your time as you give them. You can just look at them, make eye contact to ensure they're aware you are aware that they're talking to you, and then you can turn and walk away. You don't have to say a single word. Story 212. When you get up, grab a few things that belong in the room you are going to. Grab a few dishes or food if you are going to the kitchen. Grab a couple of books if going by the bookshelves, etc. Story 213. If you see something and wonder, can I stick that up my arse? First consider whether it should go up your arse. If it shouldn't, then avoid sticking it up there. Story 214. There is great power in no responsibilities. Also, no one can take advantage of you when you're useless. Story 215. People lie on the internet, like a lot. They go to really long lengths to keep their lie up. You will never have enough time to disprove a liar online. Story 216. Never try to please everybody. Choose whose voices to listen to, especially when it comes to criticisms. Trust me, most of the time it's really not about you. Story 217. Get up earlier. I used to be a crack of noon type of person, but through work have switched to 7 to 8 a.m. Holy shoot, it's like I've gotten another whole day out of this day, and I still stay up till 12 on DYSMU. It's a literal cheat code. Even if you don't get up, just wake up then. Lay there and go back to sleep for another hour, whatever. It's still only like 9 o'clock, not 2:30 in the afternoon. Story 218. Being kind. To myself, loved ones, and strangers, I had been amazing. For my mental health, the way others respond. Just taking a moment of grace for yourself and others changed my life and worldview. Story 219. Match questionable relationships, be it with a parent or sibling or lover or potential partner. Give as much as you get. If your extra you throw to them isn't reciprocated, it'll help plant substance out the fair weather people. Story 220. CS get degrees. Nothing and no person are perfect. Lowers expectations and allows you the freedom of experiencing and learning rather than surviving through something that could have a higher purpose. Story 221. When cutting parchment or wax paper for cooking, tuck the box flap back into the box and then tear. Perfect line every time. Story 222. Text when you get there. Someone cares that you arrive safely. Letting them know that is a nice deposit in your emotional bank account with that person. Story 223. Going to the gym regularly. Better sleep, more energy, more self-confidence. It literally saved my life. I wish I had kept with it at 16 instead of waiting to 34 to take it seriously. Been going 15 years strong now. Story 224. Visit your parents, you get a meal, babysitter, no regrets. And they get you, of course, only if you are fortunate enough to have a relationship with them. Story 225. Pay yourself first, starting with your first job. Always, always, always put 10 away for you and don't touch it no matter how badly you want to. Story 226. Don't be attached to anything. Feel and experience life without clinging. Life is inherently a journey of experiences. When you become too fixated on something, it often hinders your ability to enjoy the experience and may even lead to suffering. Story 227. This is a genuine game changer. If you can't find something, start tidying up. Your thing will turn up faster and your stuff will be tidier. The longer it takes to find the tidier, everything gets. Story 228. Never pay the first medical bill. Always call and ask if they have any assistance programs they can help you with. Source, worked at hospital. We didn't mind writing a lot of stuff off because we could use it for tax write-offs elsewhere, making our budget more flexible. Story 229. Being a better person is a practice, ongoing. Edit to add, the friends who matter won't mind, the ones who mind don't matter. Story 230. I always clean as I cook, but not everybody else in the family does. Don't waste energy trying to scrub out a dried and crusty pot or pan or bowl. Anything non-metal goes into the microwave with about an inch of water and in preferably a cover like another dirty dish. Cook for 2 minutes. The steam softens the dried food, easy to clean. Same thing with pots and pans on the stove. Fill with a bit of water. Bring to boil. Toss in anything else that caked. Cover with lid and let it steam up. Couple minutes should do it, then easy peasy after this ease. Story 231. The hard choices are almost always the right one. Don't negotiate with yourself as an extension of that. Well, today I'll just sleep in and... No, get up. Story 232. Ever since high school, I've set out my entire outfit for the next day before I go to bed at night. I lay out the socks, underoos, everything down to my watch. It saves so much time on decision-making and finding things in the morning. Story 233. In memory care, we say use it or lose it. Dementia is horrifying and miserable. You do not want it? Use your brain. Do a crossword. Read a chapter of something. Research anything. Do you know elementary Spanish? Cool. Relearn it in French. Do you always cook dinner but buy dessert out? Cool. Now order food and bake a cake. Usually read sci-fi? Nice. Go find a nonfiction book. Story 234. Use iPhone Siri or any other AI virtual assistant to automate everyday tasks and stay organized. I use mine to set reminders, to-do lists, and for other admin bits. Story 235. Always do whatever someone asked you. You never know when you're going to need help in the future. I'm crippled and have no one, so at least I can give advice. Oh, also following directions saves stress. Story 236. You only have to have your taxes filed before April 15th if you owe the Gov money after finishing them. The fine is based on your debt. If you are getting a refund, you owe them $0, and any percent of zero is zip. So don't panic if you miss the filing deadline and you're a regular schmo like me. Story 237. Every paycheck, if possible, try to put some money aside for the future. Can start low and slowly raise it. I get paid weekly. Started as $100 a week. Now it's definitely more. Story 238. Make your appointments for first thing in the morning, as much as is reasonably possible. Anything later is an interruption to the rest of your daily routine and creates stress. Story 239. Are you prone to forgetting things when you pack to go somewhere? It's perfectly acceptable to have duplicates that live in your luggage. I have a set of phone chargers that live in mine after a trip where half the family failed to bring their chargers. I also have a travel wardrobe that I rarely wear at home. Those clothes don't live in my luggage, but they do occupy a dedicated space in my closet so that if I'm pressed for time, I can just throw those things in my bag without thinking too hard about what I will need. ETA, my other favorite packing hack. If you're traveling with another person and you need to check your bags, put half of your wardrobe in their bag and half of theirs in yours. That way, if one bag gets lost, you each still have something to wear. And if you're traveling with small children to somewhere that has a pool, put their swimsuits in your carry-on. If worst comes to worst, with lost luggage, at least one parent can take the kids in the pool while the other goes out to find replacement clothes instead of dragging tired, cranky kids through some store. That's it for this video. Don't forget to support Vancher and my second channel, Vancher. See you soon.